Hi guys, my name is Yabo and I am the founder of Masasi B. If you're looking for unique African-inspired clothing and accessories, please check out my brand. All details are at the end of this video. Feel free to get in touch. Thank you.
Wow! Here is a good information for everybody. Have the taste of fruit in different form at your parties, event, church program, or social engagement like wedding, birthday, conference, in your house, and lots more. Fruit cocktails, fruit arrangement, fruit palm tree, smoothie, fruit basket decoration, fruit kebab, and lots more at Sweet Art Fruit Company. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, ní gbogbo ibi tí a bá ti ń ṣe àríyá, ìgbéyàwó, ọjọ́ ìbí, àjọ̀dún ilé ìjọsìn, níbi afẹ́ tàbí ibi ìgbádùn àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ, ẹ kàn sí Sweet Art Fruit ní èyíkéyìí ohun tí ẹ bá fẹ́ kí wọ́n fi fruit dálẹ́rà fún yín bíi fruit cocktail, fruit arrangement, fruit palm tree, smoothie, fruit basket decoration àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Níbikíbi tí ẹ bá wà, ẹ lè kàn sí wa lórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yìí 079-442-78530 or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all social media platforms at Sweet Art Fruit. Oluwaseun Akishoun is the CEO of Sweet Art Fruit. Patronize us at Sweet Art Fruit today. You will be glad you business with us.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our show. Enough is enough. SORO SOKE, sponsored by Betta9ja. I'm your host and anchor, Mr. Femi Oke, and welcome to the show, dedicated to debate and discussions towards the Betta9ja for all of us. Tonight's topic is it's the economy, stupid. Can government retain power in 2023 without fixing the economy? My guests delivering this topic tonight in the studio are Deacon and OBANLEOWO. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening to all our viewers.
He's a political analyst and staunch PDP man. And via Zoom, our other guests are Lady MARLENE ONYEOCHA, CEO of Prime View Television UK. Good evening.
Good evening, all, and welcome. Thank you for having me.
I also have a very dear uncle, Mr. OTUNBA OSENI. Good evening, sir. Are you there, Mr. OSENI? Okay, we'll come back to him.
Yes, thank you very much, Femi, for having me.
Fantastic.
My name is OTUNBA. And good evening, everyone.
I also have Mr. BABASOLA KUTI, political consultant and analyst. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Femi. Thanks for having me.
Finally, a guest all the way from Nigeria, Mr. YUSUF SULEIMAM, ADEOYE, the Assistant Secretary of the All Progressive Youth Forum Central. Good evening, sir. Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Fantastic. So anyone can call into the show on the following numbers: 791 809 952. You can also call on +44 203 774 7220. You can also post messages on the Facebook handle at Safe Omega Media. We'll start today's discussions by looking at the state of the economy. We'll review the performance of the ABC government at the federal level. We'll also look at a few states, the PDP and the Afghan states. Then we'll look at possible alternatives. The conclusion will be, are PDP ready to take back control of the centre, or are they still disorientated? And where are the viable alternatives ahead of the 2023 general elections, with less than 2 years to go? We'll finish with a couple of current quick-fire current affairs issues if we have time. So the first thing I'd like to say is inflation is about 18.17% as of March, figures from the Bureau of Statistics. Naira is hovering around 675 Naira to the pound in the parallel market. Unemployment is about 35%, hovering in excess of our use. Food inflation is over 20.1%. This is caused by insecurity, waste, and inadequate transport infrastructure. The economy truly is in a dire state. Now, I want to address this question to Mr. Obanleo in the studio. PNB, President Muhammad Buhari and the APC swept into government in 2015 on a historic high, the first time that an incompetent party conceded victory to an opposition party. They came in on a three-point agenda. One, fixing the economy. Two, addressing the insecurity. And three, fighting corruption, amongst other promises. How has the APC fared in your eyes in these three things? Most especially the economy. Let's not focus on the other two, but the economy.
Thank you, Femi, for having us once again. And good evening to all our viewers. You see, when the APC took power in 2015, they came under the pretense that it was 16 years of bad governance by PDP, that the economy was stagnant, nothing was working, and they had a viable solution to improve the economy, the livelihood of our people. Now, 6 years into this administration, I mean, as you said, the parallel market, the rate of the naira to the pound is 675 naira to a pound. Whereas the last administration was just over the 200 naira 250 threshold. Now, what I can say categorically now is rather than fixing the economy to a reasonable satisfactory level, the economy has gone downhill because the policies that they were implementing in trying to stabilize the country, they haven't been effective. Now, if you look at the economy in the last 6 years, in comparison to when the Jonathan government were in power, you could discover that the rate of inflation has gone out of control. Food, other essential commodities have spread out of control. The rate of employment, everything, there's nothing to write home about. Now, you now begin to wonder why in 6 years the country and the economy has been stagnant. It's about bad leadership and bad implementation of policies. See? And that is the problem we have. You see, if you're accusing a particular government of mismanagement of funds, corruption, because in any economy where there is massive corruption, a high level of inflation, you will never expect that economy to flourish. In a situation whereby the rate of inflation, exceeds what the level of expectation. You never have a balanced economy. So, what is the president and the think tankers? What are they doing to inject fresh impetus into the economy? Absolutely nothing. You see, what we keep having is excuses that when they came into power, the economy was in a bad state, there was so much debt.
So driving it home, so you believe, and it's fair to say, you're saying that the APC has done woefully in terms of its manifesto promise to fix the economy.
Yes. One thing about your manifesto is you must be able to implement your policies without making excuses about the state of the economy when you come in. Your job is to forget about what you meant when you came into the office, because the intention and your desire is to make sure that what you're saying to the Nigerians is, look, the economy, we can do much better than the last decision. So there's no point coming in and start complaining about what has happened in the past. That administration is gone. Your idea is to make sure that you have a think tank that will be able to formulate policies, that will be able to bring down the rate of inflation, reduce unemployment, make sure that the package and the ideas that you're going to bring into making the system work, they are fully implemented, and you have people who are going to administer it and make sure that they know what they're doing in terms of reviving the economy.
Fantastic. Okay, I want to move on to Marlene. How are you? Marlene, you there?
Yeah, yes.
Good. You heard what Mr. OBANLEOWO says. Do you agree with him that the ABC has failed in terms of the economy? And another question I want to really say that he mentioned about the value of the naira. Is the value of the naira the fault of government? Really? Should the government be controlling the exchange rate, or should the exchange rate be determined by market forces? Any government trying to control exchange rates when it's import independent with a single mono export product, oil and gas, can't control the exchange rate, can it really? What do you say to that, Marlene?
Well, good to have me today, and good to be part of this wonderful show today. I must say, like when he said that, when you asked did the government fail, I will tell you categorically that APC government failed woefully. Unfortunately, I'm also an APC member, and I must say this. Taking us back to 2015, like he previously mentioned, yeah, they promised so many things. But what we were not checking, to me, is the change of the way the world is changing. Before, Nigerian economy was driven by the major was driven by petroleum products.
That's correct.
And when it started lapsing, the fall of petroleum products started coming down. The next thing would have been, let's kickstart something else, maybe farming, agriculture. The president promised us, I'm not using APC now, the president promised us security. And without security, there's no way any economy will move. Because if we saw a petroleum products cannot move our economy, let's divert to something else, maybe agriculture. Our farmlands are invaded. So there's no way we can actually go towards agriculture to say, okay, let's use that as a base. And not just agriculture, even the diaspora, and you're talking about exchange rates. Diasporans are the main force right now stabilizing Nigeria.
That's
because
correct.
The government has failed woefully in every aspect. In education, in health, in name it, whatever, they have failed. So asking me if a private sector could drive the economy towards naira exchange or dollar exchange, I don't think I could actually categorically say yes also, because when you bring private investors in, and when it starts floating, regulating certain things, especially the dollar, people might start putting it individually, hike it more. In as much as the government cannot regulate it right now, but I still believe it's better the way the government is doing it right now than handing it over to the private sector. But have they failed woefully? Has APC failed woefully? Yes, they have.
Okay, let me put the next question to, thank you for that, Marlene. I'll put the next question to my next guest, Mr. Otunba, also an APC man, I believe. So the next question is, despite the best efforts, the economy remains the Achilles heel of the nation. In the first term, the blame was put squarely at the foot of the outgoing PDP, who left the mess with practically an empty kitty after 16 years of what some classify as mediocre governance. Now APC is halfway through its second term. COVID has induced, the COVID-induced worldwide recession is yet another excuse, as the oppositions would have you believe. What do you think of this? I mean, is it again the government's fault that these, we are in this mess, as my first two guests have said? Is there anything that we could have done differently? What is your take on this?
Thank you very much, Femi. Let me start getting one or two things out of the way. Number one, I'm not an APC, I'm not registered APC. Okay. It is a fact that the time when I have to make a choice as a Nigerian British Nigerian.
You're bailing out now.
I decided to cast my vote, even though diaspora are not as active, but I decided to campaign for alternative to the government of Jonathan.
Okay, let's face the question now.
Yeah, I'm good. I just need to get that out of. So
yeah, I've got that.
Now, I hope we're all going to agree that a house without you can't build a house without foundation. It's just not possible. And I've been like this the last 12 years arguing the fact that there's something fundamentally wrong with a black man. And as you can see, when you look at the number of hundreds of years that America has been rolling and going higher and higher, making, even though they run into trouble the last general election, but then again, I'm sure they're not going to change the system. They're just going to change the people coming into the system. I need to ask probably Alagba OBANLEOWO, what are the structures that PDP, where are the structures PDP started operating on? None. And also, I remember asking at a forum somewhere in Parkland, one of the former president of BABASOLA, when I said, you normally lock the door when you have a rule, just like the number of houses over there. You normally lock the door. And your door, the house is built on a form of the foundation. He said, yes. I said, what are the structure you build? Let me even say behind. Which are the structure you put in place? You had everything to yourself as one of the strongest and powerful presidents of Nigeria in 1999. You think there's no structure for people that will succeed, whether you choose them or not. There is anyway. Let me now link that. We cannot make progress. We will continue to go round and round and round and round until when we agree to put a structure in place.
Okay. I don't want to. We're going to talk about structure later.
No.
Your question, economy, and also. Sorry. If you don't mind, Mr. OSENI. I'm just saying, what could because we're saying that the government hasn't done well. And my question was, what could have been done differently? Because of course, the PDP is saying it's a mess. What could have been done differently?
Okay, well, okay, if that is how you want, I could say now that APC, you have taken advantage of their opportunity, the goodwill they have now, to start destruction. If that is going to answer your question. Because until when we have a structure in place, even if PDP, anybody of GAF come 20 times, it's still going to be the same result.
Okay, fantastic. So that's going to bring us nicely to the next question, which I'm going to give to Mr. BABASOLA KUTI, who I was led to believe also had sort of PDP leanings, but who knows, maybe now he's going to tell us that he's jumped ship as well. But let's get to the question. The question I want to ask you is that now the economy is in a mess. We hear cries for restructuring, as OTUNBA has said, and separatist agitations everywhere. Udurwa Republic, Biafra, you name it. Some insist that the lack of diversification, as Marlene mentioned earlier, is the reason why our country is a mess. I put it to you, Mr. KUTI. Why have we been unable to diversify after 60 years? Because to think that we would diversify in 6 years of APC, we've had 60 years of governance, of independence, if you like, we didn't have diversification. We've had 16 years of PDP, we didn't have diversification. Why have we been unable to diversify in 60 years, Mr. KUTI?
Well, it's first of all, let me just say this, and I've said this many times before, that the problem with Nigeria is that Nigeria is a poor country. We need to understand that very clearly. That
I agree with
compared to any other developing or developed country, we are relatively poor. We're very poor. And when you look at our budget, it's basically nothing. And that happens year on year. How do you develop an economy, a country with circa $30 billion every year? A country of 200 million.
Although, sorry to cut you in, but we're the so-called giant of Africa, the largest economy in Africa, yet our budget is less than that of South Africa, less than of Egypt. I'm not even sure if we mentioned Angola. So this is for 215 plus million people and growing. Clearly, it's unsustainable.
That's a basic problem. It's almost like, I always liken it to a man who has 100 children, but only earns 10,000 naira. It's going to be difficult for him to survive. And that's the first thing we need to realize. The second thing we need to realize is that it isn't true when you say PDP did not diversify in 16 years. There were attempts at diversification. I mean, there were attempts.
There were attempts. What happens those
because government is a continuum. You've got to understand that. And as far as I'm concerned, we saw some of the good things that were happening in the agri sector. Today, there's some benefits from it if you take away the crisis in the Northeast and other parts of the country that are affecting the agri sector. But there were some benefits, with some of the projects that were being done in agri. There was a lot of export being done as well during the PDP years. I know that because I used to export a lot of stuff then. And so
the statistics show that more, obviously, they've laid the foundation, but significantly more agriculture in terms of dependence on local producers happening now in 6 years than happened in the 16 years.
Yeah, because Femi, it doesn't take, nothing grows overnight. You can't plant rice and then harvest it 2 weeks later.
Yeah,
but we're talking about the foundation.
Yeah, there was a change of government policy. Sorry, there was a change of government policy that blocked the borders, stopped rice coming in. That's quite different from policies that were done in the previous year. So I ask you finally, just before we get to the other person, so why have we been unable to diversify after 60 years?
It's because there's no will. I think, first of all, you need a good playing surface for you to be able to diversify. You need people to have access to, to not just to equipment, but to cash, to be able to build their businesses. You need to also know where you're strong. Let's look at Nigeria historically. In the old days, we had the granite pyramids in the north. We had cocoa in the southwest.
Are we going to go back to those days? Are we going to go back to days when the digital 21st century? Is that what we're going to go back to?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. When you look at what sort of like margins, there's still cocoa exporters in Nigeria that are billionaires from cocoa, but they're just not, a lot of them anymore. It's not like being driven commercially. I'm not saying that's the only thing we can do. We could also explore things like the digital economy. I mean, look at the two companies in Nigeria that have done well raising funds for their tech companies. We can do that as well. But there's so much opportunity. I don't think the government is harnessing those opportunities. I think that's what the problem is.
Good. We will get back onto that. I just don't believe, in my eyes, that government has any business in business, and government cannot diversify. It is the private sector that does the diversification. And to me, that is the reason why we're messing up when it comes to diversification. Trying to think that government is going to do it, we're going to be here forever. I want to put the next question to Mr. YUSUF Sulaiman. Look, we've talked about diversification, as we have a problem with diversification. The next thing that I think is a major problem is the poor ease of doing business. Because at the end of the day, as Mr. KUTI was talking about there, he was talking about government facilitating diversification. The way that they can facilitate that is by easing the doing of business, by making sure we have improvement in service delivery. We have poor ease of doing business and very debilitating service delivery. These, in my eyes, are the reason why Nigeria is not growing at a pace commensurate with its population growth and its developmental needs. No matter the political manifesto of any elected official, if those tasked to execute these plans, many of them are what many call evil servants masquerading as civil servants, if they remain in place, nothing is going to improve. They prefer the status quo. The civil service and unions are the key reason why, is another key reason why Nigeria is not working and why manifesto promises are not delivered. What does you, an APC man, what would you say to that, sir?
Yeah, good evening once again. Sorry, there is some cut-ins from my network. Part of the problem with Nigeria.
Okay, but we can hear you loud and clear. We can hear you loud and clear. You're like you're here in London.
You talk about diversification. You talk about ease of doing business. To be candid and honest, in terms of ease of doing business, Nigeria is really, really trying. Because when you look at the ranking from where we were before to where we are now, we have improved. Though this is not where we are meant to be, we are still working more about that. But when you talk about business in Nigeria, it's really, really hard to survive because the odds, the challenges are very, very many, and daily they are increasing. You talk about expenses, you talk about bills you pay on a daily basis. Sometimes you get duplication upon duplication of taxes, local government, state government, federal government, signposts, all manner of bills and taxes. All this doesn't help the business. Then back to diversification. I just want to talk about this very, very serious matter we are facing in this country. No apologies to the National Assembly, but they are the #1 problem of this country. Why can we be amending a constitution for more than 20 years? Every regime, every National Assembly start the process of constitution amendment that never see the light of the day. They will manage to amend one, but we have fundamental problems with our constitution. And a lot of the issues we are facing in this country has to do with that constitution. There are a whole lot of things that once we are able to agree and cast them, yes, we know we are dealt with them. But we will romance, every National Assembly comes, they will romance it and let it go. These are just, like, I didn't hear actually some of the things you said because my network fluctuates. I had to switch to another network.
Okay. But Mr. ADEOYE, you are an APC member. You know that the majority of members in the National Assembly are APC. Part of the 2015 manifesto of APC was restructuring. Whose fault is it that we're not getting this legislation?
I can tell you a lot of these people doesn't even know what they are doing, as far as I'm concerned. Then secondly, the will. Most of them are more or less interested about cutting the tape. They want to go create one project or the other and cut the tape. and then they get the applause. But that's not what they are meant to be. We have better constitutional matters to deal with that will give us a better standing as a country. Just like one of the speakers mentioned about the foundation. When we lay a very good foundation, which is part of our constitution, like a lot of, sorry, I'm a little bit deviating. Like a lot of people talk about the agitation for separatists or the agitation for rotation of power. Why can't we endorse?
Stay there. We're breaking up. Okay, Mr. ADEOYE, we broke up there, so we'll come back to that very discussion later on, especially about agitation and so on. I want to come back to the studio, Mr. OBANLEOWO. Look, the economy is shrinking. The federal revenues are shrinking. COVID has created a lot of mess in the system. Government has had to resort to loans, to borrow money, to build the infrastructure, the much-needed infrastructure that we don't have. However, the opposition and opponents of government say loans are now our problem. What is wrong with deficit financing when we have dwindling revenues? How else is government expected to go to bridge this infrastructural deficit? I know that Governor Vedo Obaseku said we're printing money, although that was challenged. But really, what is government to do? How would it fund improving infrastructure? Because infrastructure, lack of infrastructure, as some of our speakers have said, is one of the key reasons why we are inefficient, our economy is in a mess. You produce products, you can't get around because the road is terrible. You can't communicate because the tech network is terrible. There's so many terrible things. We've said the civil service are a mess. These are the dues in business, although it says improved, but like more things that they say have improved, when you're down on the ground, the man on the street is not feeling that improvement. The business owner, the foreign direct investment is shrinking, okay? There are many reasons behind that, but at the end of the day, the so-called vaunted improvement in ease of doing business is not having an effect in increasing diaspora investment. It's not increasing foreign direct. It's not even increasing local investment. So I want to ask, what's wrong with loans?
You see, the problem we have with the loans is, Femi, when you keep taking loans to take care of specific projects, the terms and conditions of these loans matters a lot, because that's why a lot of Nigerians are always keen to understand when you take out these loans and you tell Nigerians that these loans are specific, they are meant for specific projects, rail projects, roads, exportation of goods and all that. You must have some measures in place to make sure that the government is generating enough funds to pay back these loans. It's like somebody going into a bank, taking out a loan without the means of paying back the loan. We're gonna run into a problem, So one thing is taking out the loans, but the essence of taking out these loans, you cannot be taking out loans to be offsetting debts. These loans need to go into viable projects, agriculture,
like the railway project.
The railway project.
I mean, the National Assembly has just approved a few hundreds of billions from the European Bank and the Brazilian Bank for agriculture. So that's just been approved.
Yeah. So, I mean, the more you take out these loans need to go into viable projects.
You mentioned agriculture. I'm just saying that's one of the loans that's just been approved.
Yeah. Now, when you keep the economy, when you can get the economy going, and people can see that yes, the economy is working, because through these viable projects that you're investing in, you can pay back the loans.
Okay.
You can employ people. When you employ people will be able to pay their taxes. That's another form of generating revenue for the government. Because when you employ people, they become employers of labor as well. When they become employers of labor, they can bring people then that is how you improve the labor market. Because when the labor market is improved, then...
Yeah, let me bring Marlene back into Lady Marlene. Sorry. Lady Marlene, you've heard Mr. Obanleowo in the studio saying that loans in of themselves is not bad, but we have to have a vehicle for which to repay those loans. Well, one of the loans is going on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway and the railway line, the standard gauge, which since independence, Nigeria has never had a standard gauge railway. This is just shameful. It's ridiculous. 16 years of PDP, they couldn't build, any standard railway. Now we've got the one from Lagos to Ibadan. We've got the one going east-west, going to Warri to Itakwe, and another one going to from Warri to I'm not sure where it's going anyway. But what I'm saying, these loans are put in place for those same projects, which are viable projects, which will improve our infrastructure. However, Nigeria is one of the lowest, because you mentioned about improving employment, is one of the lowest tax to GDP ratios in the world. Only about 7% of not working population is actually remitting tax. Look, you and I, we're all in the UK, we pay our taxes. What role is the media, what role can we do, and what are we saying to make Nigerians, to sensitize Nigerians to the necessity to register and pay their taxes? When there's a shortfall in government revenue, it has to come in from somewhere. These loans have to be repaid, although they're on favorable terms. We need tax revenues. What can we do in that respect? Because unless we do something about our tax revenues, we're not going to go anywhere, are we?
Yes, okay. Before I go on this, I must let people know also why you're made that mistake 3 times. Let people understand I'm also Mistake Marlene. So it's okay when you call me Mistake. It's acceptable. All right. Yeah.
Thank you.
In terms of the revenues, we're in a world, let's say UK, where you can monitor people that pay taxes and all that, due to either social security numbers or NI numbers and all that. Before Nigeria can get into that for people to pay tax, to repay, because that's the only way actually you can repay most of these loans, by making people pay tax, making more people rather, because some people still pay tax, making more people pay tax. But if there's a way of having, generating a kind of social atmosphere where you have people registered, which almost, to me, I'm not saying it's impossible, because any party can come in now, not PDP, I don't even believe in party politics anymore. I believe in individual politics. Somebody can come in and decide, okay, let's put some of this money into creating a social kind of network that will give every single individual that lives in Nigeria a number. And from that number, somehow we can generate taxes back into the system. But then when you talk about infrastructures, the way I would rather have Nigeria spend these loans, which is in billions, it was 30 billion, then they took another 83 billion, which is 100-something billions. I would rather us put it in the infrastructures like hospitals or schools. Education is one place we need it most, because without education, most of our kids, what you see now, like this, I'm sorry to take you back to our president's former statement that all Nigerian youths were idle or whatever. Without education, I don't believe any economy can move. And without health facilities, I don't think we can actually stabilize our economy. That's my concept. The bridges, you can build your bridges. You can have your roads, because mainly the ports is in Lagos. If an Igbo man wants to transport goods to the east, it takes a while. It slows down production. It slows down distribution. It slows down everything. So for us to get into, to have all these put together and moving forward, it's going to take us a while, I believe. Yeah. So now, coming back to the state, is there a solution to this? I would suggest somebody comes in, no party politics, no APC, because like I said, APC failed. PDP and APC, they are the same. It's the same people. They remove uniform and put on another. All we need is one person, regardless whether APC, PDP, any party you're from, come there and restructure the whole system. And when I say restructure, even our economy needs restructuring, solid restructuring. Not just the constitution you mentioned about. The constitution, yes, I don't even believe in restructuring the constitution. I believe in tearing it up, rewrite it, and we start again. Will Nigeria move? Yes, I believe we can move. But all we need is not taking this loan and then say we are putting it here and it's going into one person's pocket. I don't believe in that. The road you talked about, Ibadan, Express Road and all that.
The railway line.
The railway line. Yes, Amechi is doing marvelous work. He's actually the only work I've actually been seeing. The railroads everywhere and then a few airports here and there. But then part of this money is going into certain individual hands. And we cannot say this is this or that is that. Our president came here for medical checkup. Why? We don't have hospitals where he can do his checkups. So most of these things should go in mainly social infrastructure, which is like hospitals and education. That's health and education, I believe, yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. Mr. OTUNBA OSENI, we're going back to almost government bashing again. Is it right to blame President Muhammadu Buhari's 6-year government for the poor state of the economy? What quick-fire, realistic solutions can we prefer to the APC government to solve our economy? After all, fixing the economy is a matter of national security. As Marlene said, it should be non-partisan. It shouldn't be a matter of us kicking the political football and blaming each other. This is something that all hands on deck should be there to try and fix the economy. What can we do to address the sliding economy just now? Mr. OSENI, are you there?
I'm muted.
Mr. OSENI?
Yeah, I'm muted.
Okay, thank you very much, Femi. Again, I'm happy you quickly alluded to teamwork of a football team. There are things you cannot, there are a lot of things that are interconnected. You cannot remove one thing and get something. It's not going to work. That is exactly what I was trying to say to you. You cannot operate successfully, you cannot create a thriving economy when security, infrastructure, all these basic things are not there.
How can we address them? That's the question.
Yes. Just straight answer is any party in government should start to address this area of deficit. These are deficit deficiency that will never make the good governance available. So government must concentrate. Now, Lady Marlene said
questions incoming now.
That one of the ministers have been laying rails and all that kind of thing. It sounds good, looks good, but my worries is why should we in 2021 and not lay proper foundation of good rail? If I look at the antique, the agreed to take away coaches from leagues, I laugh. And when I look at the amount of money earmarked or voted to create a good railing system and so on and so forth, and when I look at what we get, it's nothing to do with that we don't know. It's just like corruption has inherently eaten up most of everything we do. And until when we get rid of that, and I've seen that also, that this government had failed. I'm really sorry. Like I said, I was going to history before, but you say you want a straight answer. This government has failed because when I look back and say, when I look back and say 1970, when I left Nigeria over 51 years ago, that it was issue of NEPA. There was still no night. And as it's still 51 years on, I'm still here. I'm still going back and say, we don't have light the last.
So you were expecting that in 6 years that our problem with electricity would have been resolved. Is that what you're suggesting?
It is a shame. I'm sorry, I don't want to be arrested.
That's an impossibility.
I don't want to be arrested by police What do you say?
That's an impossibility, as a matter of fact, that in 6 years, the way the decadence in the electricity system could never be fixed in 6 years. But we've got to go for a break now. I've been told by the people in the studio here. We're going to go on a break, and we're going to come back to carry on the economy. So stay tuned. Over and out.
Hi guys, my name is Yabo, and I am the founder of Masasi B. If you're looking for unique African-inspired clothing and accessories, please check out my brand. All details are at the end of this video. Feel free to get in touch. Thank you.
níbi àríyá tàbí lóde ayẹyẹ gbogbo nílé afẹ́ ò tàbí níbikíbi. Bóyá 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 ò kẹ́gbọ́n mi sweet heart fruit ń bẹ́lẹ̀ yìí dé o kò táwọn yọ. Wow! Here is a good information for everybody. Have the taste of fruit in different form at your parties, event, church program, or social engagement like wedding, birthday, conference in your house, and lots more. Fruit cocktails, fruit arrangement, fruit palm tree, smoothie, fruit basket decoration, fruit kebab, and lots more at Sweet Heart Fruit Company. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, ní gbogbo ibi tí a bá ti ń ṣe àríyá, ìgbéyàwó, ọjọ́ ìbí, àjọ̀dún ilé ìjọsìn, níbi afẹ́ tàbí ibi ìgbádùn àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ, ẹ kàn sí Sweet Heart Fruit ní èyíkéyìí ohun tí ẹ bá fẹ́ kí wọ́n fi fruit dálára fún yín bíi fruit cocktail, fruit arrangement, fruit palm tree, smoothie, fruit basket decoration àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Níbikíbi tí ẹ bá wà, ẹ lè kàn sí wa lórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yìí 079-442-78530 or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all social media platforms at Sweet Heart Fruit. Oluwaseun Akishoun is the CEO of Sweet Heart Fruit. Patronize us at Sweet Heart Fruit today. You will be glad you business with us.
Okay. Welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show. Enough is enough. SORO SOKE. Myself, Femi Oke on the scene with my guests. The same people are still here. You can call in on +44 791 809 952 or +44 203 774 7220. You can also post messages on our Facebook handle at Safe Omega Media. Look, I want to take the next question now to Mr. KUTI. The state of things now in Nigeria, as we've been talking about, is still dire. We're looking at the economy. I've got some questions here from some people from the net. I'll take them following this question to you. Now, we mentioned about the railway lines that the government is, and some people have said that it's a good initiative to bring in standard gauge, which you haven't had for over 100 years, never had. In fact, the British put the narrow gauge in a way, you know, was a bogus thing what they did. Now, What is wrong with government selling its assets, something like the Lagos-Ibadan railway line, or listing it on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, licensing train operators, and to create competition to raise the money to pay back the loans? Why is it that we continue to have a situation where government insists on owning business when government has no business doing business? We know where it ends up. It always fails. We've got our moribund Ajakarta steel rolling mill, moribund refineries. Government is now building. It looks all shiny now because it's just been built. Go back in 5 years' time, God knows where it's going to be, although the Chinese say they'll be managing it. Should they not sell those assets now, list them on the stock exchange to raise the funds to pay back the Chinese and reinvest in further other infrastructure? What do you say to that?
Well, you know, the first thing I'm going to say, Femi, is that the first thing that a businessman will consider is that are those assets viable? So when you talk about the rail lines, how much are those rail lines generating today? You know, I think if I was a businessman that was looking to invest in the rail from Lagos to Ibadan or the road, I would have focused on the road, because you know that road also leads people through Benin.
Let's not digress. We're talking about the railway line,
that's what I'm explaining to you. Is it a viable investment?
No. So that one is a question that is not a question, and you cannot determine the viability. They would have determined the viability in hindsight, because you're looking at possible passenger traffic. You've got freight. You not only just got passengers, you've also got freight. That's the only route in. It's much cheaper to come bring things by freight than to bring them by roads. So definitely Lagos to Ibadan, the busiest line in Nigeria, that's the busiest link, is definitely going to be viable. Do you know what the traffic is?
I know somebody in the transport sector that said that the rail line is not even viable because it doesn't do the number of passengers and the cost
as it stands now. But the potential, we're not talking about what is happening right now. Remember, over here in the UK,
a businessman doesn't think about now. A businessman thinks.
Just a minute.
Look, if the rail was so viable, a businessman will not be building the refinery.
A businessman,
he'll be investing in rail.
Hold on. A businessman, it might not be his preference. A businessman doesn't look at the immediacy, but looks at the long term. That's part of business planning as well. What I'm suggesting to you is that rail infrastructure is key for the development of any country. Now, having that there is essential. That is the busiest link in Nigeria, Lagos to Ibadan. Okay? So what I'm suggesting to you, the government has sunk billions into it by loaning, all it be on preferential rates. What about selling it on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, recouping that money, paying off the Chinese, and then reinvesting that another money into new projects? Why do we need to wait? Why do we need to follow the status quo and, government owning everything? What do you say to that?
I think, first of all, I want somebody that agrees that government has no business running businesses. So, yes, I agree that it should have been a private sector-led initiative. I think if it was a private sector-led initiative, first of all, it would have been built at a cheaper cost. It would have been run more effectively. And the private sector will be looking to make a profit from it. So I think that, I agree with you that it should be a private sector-led initiative rather than government-led.
Good.
Because, like you said, the government is going to run it down in a couple of years.
Yeah, we're based in the UK, and we know what the cost of railway is, cross rail and so on, into the hundreds of billions of pounds. So this railway was not that much, and it was about 2 or 3 billion. I can't remember the exact figure, but it wasn't excessively. In fact, the Chinese are the cheapest constructors of any railway anywhere in the world. So it wasn't overly expensive. So, but anyway, let's use... No, I'm just saying...
I can tell you for free that it was overly expensive. I think it was compared with one of the railways in China or somewhere. That was constructed for a much longer distance. It came out ridiculous. So we really argue about that.
You know what I always find with these kind of debates? You're talking about China. Listen to what you guys are saying. You're talking about China, where all the products to build that railway are in China. Whereas in Nigeria, 90% of it to be imported. Have you
it still costs the same money?
It will not cost the same money because
labor is cheaper in Nigeria than in China.
You have to ship this. Anyway, let's not get into the debate because we could go on, and that's we're just digressing.
He doesn't want to consider APC. APC doesn't know.
This is nothing to do with APC. This is nothing to do with APC because the question is not about APC or PDP. It's about saying that government has a role in building this infrastructure. But what it ought to do is, as soon as possible, push it over to the private sector. So
but
they
would
can
the private sector build that same infrastructure? That's the question I was asking you. Would the private sector say,
would.
I want to invest in rail?
If the enabling environment was there that will allow them to do so, they would. But of course, we know that the enabling environment is not there. So that's why we're where we are. And that has been the case since independence. It's not improving anytime soon. Now, let's move to the next question to Ms. Yusuf. The question I want to ask you is the African Continental Free Trade Area. This is meant to boost inter-African trade. It's at the moment, inter-African trade is very low proportion of the continental trade. Yet most resources are exported from Africa. How can Nigeria take advantage of this with the inefficiency, the red tape, the corruption, dilapidated infrastructure? Are we not going to be again the whipping boys? People are already crying that the companies are locating to China, to Ghana. They're not located in Nigeria, because any products coming from made in Ghana will not have any tariffs in Nigeria, going by this agreement. So are we not going to be on the wrong end of the stick if we don't fix our dilapidated infrastructure and inefficiency?
This is the bitter pill that I wish Mr. President has chose to chew back then. If I were him, I wouldn't have signed. I wouldn't have joined. Honestly speaking, most of that continental trade is not likely to favor Nigeria. A lot of it is not likely to favor us. But somehow, a lot of people convinced him, and we joined. The truth of the matter, if we had concentrated in our country, we could have exported more. But now we must receive, we must import. A lot of things that are coming from Europe, that the target is just Nigeria. They will dump it in a neighboring country and then find a way of gradually moving it.
No, but the rules say that a significant proportion of the products must be made locally. We're not talking about dumping now. That's another debate. What I'm suggesting to you is that in any case, for any business to be efficient, to succeed, you have to be efficient. If we allow the status quo to carry on, it would just encourage the inefficiency that we have in our country. We need to be competitive. By saying that we should come out of this, we shouldn't have signed it, is encouraging the sycophancy and the inefficiency that's in our system. By being it will give us no choice but to kill the deadwood and come serious. That's my view. What do you say to that? Mr. Yusuf?
I still remain where I am.
Okay, no problem. Okay.
My position over it is just negative. Totally negative.
No problem.
Whatever we think of about our small businesses, this is not going to help our small business. That's the truth.
Let's wait and see. The jury is still out. And as I said, you got to remember that if Nigeria was out of the system, then any products coming from Nigeria to other African countries would then have tariffs. So that's another hammer against us. Anyway, let me take a question here from Mr. Femi Babasola. He says that we have anarchy in the government. How do you think that the government will work? Mr. OBANLEOWO. He says there's anarchy in the government. So how do you think that the government will work?
Well, that's a very good question. You see, anarchy in the government, that's serious, because ideally, in a democratic and civilized society, you shouldn't really have anarchy in government.
Yeah, but he's making that statement. I don't see that there's anarchy, but are you saying there is anarchy?
I can understand the angle where the gentleman is coming from. You see, when you have a government, but everybody just is in government with a different agenda, so that doesn't make the government effective, and that's why we're in this kind of situation anyway. So, because what that does is automatically it reflects on the society, and people notice that, and when people notice that, automatically they begin to have different perceptions about why the government is always divided over issues. We're debating a very important issue now, which is the economy. Why is the economy not working? Why Do we have people who are meant to work together, in unison, to develop policies in order to make sure that the economy is becoming more sustainable, in the long run. So, what? Just to go back to what the gentleman was asking, the only way we can try and keep things, in a more balanced form, is to make sure that everybody understands that government is about coming together, working, putting sentiments to one side, making sure that it's not just about them, it's about people who have called them to serve. Because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. It's government of the people, for the people, and by the people, and by the people. There shouldn't be any other two ways about it. Government, forget about, you see, because to have a balanced society, there ain't going to be differences, But at the end of the day, it's like the opposition will always look for ways to always blame the party in government, why things are not working, But your job when you are in government, or whether as a minister or in any other form, is to make sure that all these loopholes, the things that people will capitalize on, you make sure that you work hard to ensure that people can see the benefits of why you are there in the first instance. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Lady Lady Marlene, how are you? You're right.
I am good.
Yeah.
It's
okay. I love your mistake. You are a mysterious woman. Well, look, let me go on to this this question. It appears as though we have been doing a lot of APC bashing.
Yes.
That is the reward of power. Leadership and government is often a thankless task. And that's why Nigerians must be very wary about who they opt for come 2023. I've got a question here from Mr. Yomi Aremu. Thank you, sir. He says, that, let's look, others say it's the PDP or APC. The greater problem is followership, and not really for, the followership are not ready for diversification. For example, there's agriculture and entrepreneurship programs across the states at federal level, but most of the beneficiaries only collect the money, and they don't do anything. True. Mr. Kuti talked about helping, we talk about SMEs, doing things government should help them to create jobs and whatever. Government is dishing out trillions, an anchor program, poverty alleviation program, all manners of monies, trader money, whatever. But at the end of the day, if the people on the ground are going to collect the money and do nothing, is it government that we're going to keep on blaming? What about the people? Marlene,
Corruption is thus, in some countries, you start from down and go up. But in Nigeria, you come from up and go down. Corruption is the main thing. If the government says, okay, we're issuing out, I'll give you an example. Before a contract is given in Nigeria, you put tender. And in that tender, they'll advertise it in their tender magazines or newspapers. But before that tender is gone, before that contract is gone into the tender, it's already been awarded.
Of course.
So now, when they're giving, when they say, okay, we are opening up this for so and so, for you to come, youths come and do this, come and do this, come and do it. Already, they've known the people they're going to give these incentives to. Corruption is the main thing until we fight. I voted for President Buhari because of nothing but corruption, because I saw him as a man of integrity. I still see him as a man of integrity. But when you are weak to practice what you preach, that's the problem.
The people take advantage, isn't it?
Of course, it's the people around you, not just to me, he's a good man, but his whole choice of cabinet, as far as I'm concerned, is Babas. So now,
are not pulling their weight, you mean?
I beg your pardon, you say what?
I said many of the cabinet are not pulling their weight.
Most of them, majority, because they go there for their own pockets anyways. So now, If you decide somebody might bring a bill in the House of Assembly, okay, let's do this, let's do this, let's do that. Actually, before he's putting that bill up, he's already paid up. The people that already gave him the bill to present, he's already been paid. So by the time it gets to a common man, there's nothing there left. So I would say what your question is, it takes us back to corruption. As long as we cannot fight corruption in Nigeria, there is no way the economy is moving forward.
Yeah, you have a good point, lady. You have a good point, Lady Marlene. And you know, we talk about the government and and these appointees. We have a
sorry to cut you short. You also asked if the government should be blamed. Not really. I'm not blaming the government.
If people are stealing the money and not doing the work that they're supposed to do.
Yes, I'm not blaming the government in this. Yeah, I'm not blaming the government in this issue. It's the people that are delegated to do the job or to do the giving that I'm blaming.
Yes. So you mentioned also about, you know, the president's appointees, and I just want to mention Patami, the problem he's got there, the communication minister, and he doesn't want to resign. We have a strange situation going by his antecedents and what he's said previously in the past. He wants us to believe that he's a changed character, he's not the same man. But really, that should show that there should be concerns within the DSS and the security network.
Mr. Femi, if he cannot resign, why can't he be sacked?
Exactly, that was my point. I wanted to go on to, you cut in there to say that our president is very reluctant to sack anybody, and this is a problem. You know, I think, again, we talk about leadership, and the mantle of leadership is never easy, and sometimes you have to take the difficult decisions. And someone like him, we've also got the CCT chairman there doing the dust, kicking someone out there. That's completely disgraceful. A judge, for that matter, yet he feels that he can sit there and stay in his position. The fact that the president doesn't think that he must be fired straight away. Well, having said that, you know what happened with Onoge. You'll find people in the opposition will be defending that same man, that same judge, and saying, no, they didn't go through due process. He didn't do this. He didn't go. That guy needed to be disciplined and cleared out of the way yesterday. But let's move on to the next question for OTUNBA. Am I correct now? I got you right? Right. So, you know, I know you say you're not an APC man anymore. So many say
you must have, otherwise you're going to hear from my lawyers.
I know you were never an APC man, let's get that correct. But you voted for Buhari in 2015. Is that correct? Right. Many say that APC and PDP are two birds of the same feather, with party faithful jumping from one camp to the other. I'm not saying you're doing that. Some back and forth on numerous occasions like political prostitutes. What hope do Nigerians have in PDP to save it after all they say? President Muhammad Buhari has been proven to be no messiah. What makes PDP the deliverer, since some accuse them of being the poverty delivery party? They're no better, are they?
Well, if you want a straight answer, the straight answer would be whichever party or person that gets to power come 2023 must start the business of foundation or restructuring in the proper sense. Because one of the things some of the contributors here said tonight is the issue of lack of good foundation, and without foundation, you cannot start talking about collection of taxes. Building infrastructure is also key. Majority of grassroots people have no access to virtually nothing. You can ask a Nigerian, what do you enjoy as a Nigerian? They will tell you what? They have nothing to. So if another party comes in tomorrow, I don't know which, it could be any party as far as I'm concerned, they will have to start the business of setting up a foundation that people can operate on. But they're not going to do it. I can take a bet on that. I don't need to be a APC or a PDP man. They're not going to, because the thing is, the crop of the set of people we have that is governing Nigeria, that are in governance yesterday, today, and probably tomorrow, are the set kind of people that doesn't care. To a great extent, they don't even know what governance is all about. So if you allow new set of people to take over from this present one tomorrow. It could be any party. Like I said, they're probably going to use the system that's available that they see to continue perpetuating this kind of criminality, atrocities, and so on and so forth, not bringing good governance to the people. And that's going to be very sad.
Okay, so can I just cut in there, Mr. Otumba? Basically, I mean, I know I call them the PDP, which is the People's Democratic Party. I know I call them the Poverty Delivery Party. But what I wanted to say to you, PDP,
you might be right with that.
PDP, are they going to be any different? Are they going to be able to deliver anything? They didn't deliver anything in 16 years of mediocrity. What are they going to deliver in 2023? Should the people put their hope in them?
No.
Are they the ones to build the foundation that you're talking about?
Yeah, Femi, that's the problem. That's the problem. Is if the last 16 years of PDP were unable to set up this foundation, and the one that took over from them are also not building the foundation, we cannot feel it. Majority of us who are in Europe are feeling the heat. That if it were, if proper structure were to be in place, there's certain things that are not going to happen. You're not going to give somebody 300 million contract and somebody openly will put the money in his pocket and will not do anything and say, go ahead and do what you want to do. You can't do it because there's no structure. You're not going to get a contract of £50,000 in the UK here that you're supposed to put something, it may be lying somewhere in Trafalgar Square, and you will do it. You cannot say you cannot do it because the structure will catch up with you. And you don't need to go too far because right from the level you are, the structure is already in place. So let's translate this to Nigeria. We're having this problem 60 years on. Now I'm now in support of the area, the part of the area that's not agitating and say enough is enough.
Okay.
Sorry, your slogan of your program.
That's
enough is enough. Some people say we cannot continue. We want to go away.
Yeah. But I can assure you that although my slogan is enough, that means enough of bad governments, but not separation. I'm not for separation. Let's make that clear.
I'm just using it.
I'm for one Nigeria and a better Nigeria.
No. I'm using enough is enough. Enough is enough. The same English like your program. Enough is enough. It's just like you can convert one Yoruba word to about 20.
But
enough is enough. Some people in Nigeria, they said they have enough of all this.
Governments is not the same as enough. I won't go another way. Anyway, let me move to the next question.
Again, I'm very open. I want to make it on this program clear that I'm very, very open that enough is enough for some part of the country that are happening.
Yeah, you said you're aligning with the agitators, but we'll get to that part in the end of the show. But let me get now to Mr. ADEOYE. Listen, with less than 2 years to 20, because we've talked about PDP, we're saying they're not a viable option. So with less than 2 years to the 2015 elections, it's less than 2 years. Can you believe that, folks? APC was formed from many sitting PDP governors decamping to the APC. Now we have opposition governors decamping to the APC, and the PDP is pleading for the APC to leave their governors alone. There's no viable alternative to our two-headed monster party. So where is the viable alternative going to camp if they haven't even started with less than 2 years to go? What are the options for the Nigerian people? You're an APC man. What are the options?
As an APC person, the option still remains APC. That's why even the PDP governors and that's why even the PDP governors and PDP members are defecting to APC. Though it is a lot of times when you hear about this defection, it's about lack of integrity. People doesn't even know who they are. Today you are here, the next morning you are heading to the next place, and then who really are you? Now, in terms of deliverables,
Sorry, guys, my colleague in the studio is not enjoying this part of the conversation. But carry on.
Okay. Now, in terms of deliverables, in all sincerity, APC has tried, even with the bad shape of the economy. It is not the doing or the making of the APC that the economy is like this at the moment. Though I'm not taking it away, there are some costly mistakes that have happened during the reign of APC. Like there is no proper coordination of the economy. Let's be honest about this. If we had coordinated the economy properly, we could have done better. If you are talking about a party that has succeeded in touching the lives of the masses in Nigeria ever since, is the APC. But we could still have done better in coordinating this. A lot of money is flowing into the pockets of people without investing in, which is wrong. When the government is giving money, it should be for investment, not for you to be eating. Once you eat that money, it is gone, it is gone. And tomorrow you start looking for another one to eat again. Why should we be encouraging the habit of consuming? We should be encouraging the habit of producing.
Producing, that's the problem.
Yes.
I thank you for that. Look, we're getting to the final section of the show, but I just want to give my esteemed colleague, Mr. OBANLEOWO, an opportunity to and also maybe I'll give Mr. KUTI as well to talk about PDP, because we've heard that PDP is not an option, but I want to believe that you believe they're an option. So please tell the public out there why voting for PDP in 2023 is definitely the option, and that let's hear what you're going to say, Mr. OBANLEOWO. Over to you.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that Nigerians are tired of this present administration. And the reasons why I said that is the average Nigerian knows the state of our economy from 1999 to 2007 when President BABASOLA was the president. In the space of 8 years, BABASOLA was able to clear all the foreign debts that Nigeria had.
Not on his own.
Now, well, let me just finish for a minute. Now, the state of our economy then was much, much buoyant. Unfortunately, Yar'Adua came and the man passed untimely before the tenure of his. That is when we began to have problems with PDP, culminated with in-house issues. The party was in a disarray because it looked like some were hell-bent on personal aggrandizement, and that didn't help matters. And to be honest with you, Yar'Adua too came into office with good intentions. He wanted to carry on with the good work of Obasanjo. But as I said, of blessed memories, may his soul rest in peace. Jonathan came in at a very, very, very delicate time. Yeah, a lot of people were saying he was very weak. He didn't have the experience. But you don't garner experience overnight. Experience comes with time. Now, don't forget that he was
Vice President. He's there for 6 years. Isn't it 6 years? The same 6 years that Buhari's doing now.
The only thing which I just want to add to, in addition to what I'm saying, is the Jonathan administration meant well for Nigerians.
Okay.
But with the exception of the fact that what Lady MARLENE said earlier, corruption, he had good intentions, but unfortunately he was surrounded by people who had no business in politics. The man had good intentions, and when you are saddled with the issue of corrupt-minded people who just believe that their presence in government is to enrich their pocket. So take for instance what happened. Two key positions: aviation, petroleum. Those were the key positions that
Fani Kayode was there, wasn't he?
No.
Wasn't he in aviation?
That was,
Okay.
So we've learned from our mistakes, Femi.
We've learned from your mistakes.
And we've learned from our mistakes. And we're going through a major phase whereby we've looked at where the fundamental problems came from. Okay. And I have no doubt it's like a student who is preparing for exams. You failed the exam once. By the time you go back to do your retakes, you would have learned from your mistakes.
Okay. I want to give...
And that's why I believe that in 6 years, this country and Nigeria has been run down by this administration.
Let me get Mr. BABASOLA KUTI into the for balance so that he can answer this question quickly. Look, Mr. KUTI, Mr. OBANLEOWO, your fellow PDP man, is saying that you guys have learned your lessons. Things are going to be different. But it wasn't too long ago. I think I saw on the TV there was we had this event, what do you call it, party conference or whatever in the north, and do you see what happened? They all turned into fighting and all the rest of it. So have you really learned your lessons? Is that what Nigerians are looking forward to in 2023?
Femi, the truth is that also happened in Kwara in APC. So the problem we have in Nigeria, as Otumba said.
Let's answer that question.
The problem we have in Nigeria, as Otumba said, is not about PDP or APC. It's about good leadership, about having sensible people who actually care about the people in service.
Okay, are you running away from PDP now?
I'm not running away from PDP. PDP flows in my blood. Everybody that knows me knows that.
PDP,
what I'm saying, what I'm asking PDP to do is to look for a leader who has the mindset of service. Someone who has experience. We have tried the Messiah. Wait, we have tried the Messiah. The Messiah is Buhari. We have seen that there's no Messiah anywhere. So what I'm saying, let us go back to the basics and say, let us look for somebody who has a good heart.
Will that be Mr. Atiku? Will that be going back to the basics?
It will be anybody who has the experience and who has a good heart to take Nigeria somewhere.
Not too young to run. Let's get back to the not too young to run.
Okay, we're going to talk about that in the next segment. We're going to talk about the next segment.
The issue with the new politicians, Femi, as you know, is that they don't have the platform or the wherewithal to be able to conduct a general election at the national level. Okay. And we have to be honest with ourselves. We are stuck with either APC or PDP. Okay. So we just got to make sure, I always say to the young people, we've got to make sure that we fight for the right person to emerge in any of the parties.
Okay, fine.
So that we have the best candidates.
Thank you, Mr. So, but your best candidate is going to be in PDP. Just some final note. You're going to say that?
I don't know who the best candidate is. I don't know at the time.
Fine, you've abandoned them. Right, let me get from Mr.
Mine is APC.
Okay, thank you. Lady Marlene.
Make sure the best candidate emerges.
Lady Marlene. I want to bring hold on, Marlene. Let me just ask you the question. Let me ask you the question first, Lady Marlene.
Okay.
Look, we've talked about APC, we're talking about PDP. I want to talk about ABGA. We've got forthcoming elections in Anambra. Mm-hmm. We saw what happened when Soludo tried to have a local council meeting. They caused havoc. They killed everybody there. What's happening in Anambra State? And with the problems of ESN and IPOB and all that kind of stuff, what do you foresee likelihood of elections in Anambra? Because that's the next interim elections. Is that going to stay an ABGA state, or is it going to move to PDP? Because some people say that Igbos only vote for PDP. Is it going to go into their home state, PDP, or is APC going to have a shot? What do you think?
Okay, right now, I'm not from Anambra State. I'm from Abia State.
I know you're from Anambra State.
But the situation in Southeast is making it so uncertain for us to know what's going on. Mm. What happened to Soludo was unfortunate, but like now, Otumba mentioned about agitators. We have I use the word, the terrible ones in Southeast. You have the ESN, you have the unknown gunman, and you have the IPOB, and now you have the Bubago that was just launched. The uncertainty in Anambra State, 2021, we don't know what's going to happen. I don't even believe in ABGA anyways, being Igbo, yes, all right. I don't believe in ABGA, I don't believe in PDP. I'm actually more into the young people to come up, young parties like YPP and all to come up. I will vote any day for any young man that wants, like I said, I'm not a party politician, but individually. But if somebody is coming from the young parties, they have my vote. But when it comes to the security of Southeast, right now, Anambra State's election is this year, 2021, this year.
That's right.
This morning, I must mention this. This morning, Nnamdi Kanu came up and made a statement that nobody should campaign in Anambra State. I listened to it, that if anybody comes out to campaign, they should kill him.
Wow.
When youths hear things like that, I'm an Igbo woman. I have families back home, and this is not the upbringing of an Igbo person. It's not the upbringing of South. I am a typical, I use the word Nigeria. I am a Nigerian. Nigeria is ours. We have to make it work. Regardless where we're coming from, regardless of Duduwa, regardless Arewa, regardless IPOB, whoever. But when you start making threats, making security, making a huge statement like that, I wept this morning when I listened to him. Now,
go on.
Now, who knows if they will come out to vote? It happened in 2019.
But the election still held.
It held, but I believe that's why Buhari came back the second time around, because they were asked not to vote until the dying minute. And the time they were asked to vote, they didn't have their voters' card. It was too late.
But the majority of votes in Southeast still went to Atiku anyway.
Yes, but it could have been better. But right now,
more than 90-something percent. It's almost 99%. Could have been better than that.
It could have been better, yes. I tell you, it could have been better. But let's not even go to past 2019.
Okay, we're going to carry on. We're going to carry on the security status in the Southeast. So I'm glad that you brought that up. But we're going to take another break shortly because we've talked about the economy, we've talked about the alternatives, we've talked about the states. We're now going to get back into current affairs issues, and against security is always at the forefront of that.
Very crucial. Thank you so much.
Everybody, over and out. We'll see you after the break.
Hi guys, my name is Yabo and I am the founder of Masasi B. If you're looking for unique African-inspired clothing and accessories, please check out my brand. All details are at the end of this video. Feel free to get in touch. Thank you.
Wow! Here is a good information for everybody. Have the taste of fruit in different form at your parties, event, church program, or social engagement like wedding, birthday, conference, in your house, and lots more. Fruit cocktails, fruit arrangement, fruit palm tree, smoothie, fruit basket decoration, fruit kebab, and lots more at Sweet Art Fruit Company. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, ní gbogbo ibi tí a bá ti ń ṣe àríyá, ìgbéyàwó, ọjọ́ ìbí, àjọ̀dún ilé ìjọsìn, níbi afẹ́ afẹ́fẹ́ tàbí ibi ìgbádùn àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ẹ kàn sí Sweet Heart Fruit ní èyíkéyìí ohun tí ẹ bá fẹ́ kí wọ́n fi fruit dálára fún yín bíi fruit cocktail, fruit arrangement, fruit palm tree, smoothie, fruit basket decoration àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. níbikíbi tí ẹ bá wà ẹ lè kàn sí wa lórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yìí 079-442-78530 or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and all social media platforms at Sweet Heart Fruit. Oluwaseun Akishoun is the CEO of Sweet Heart Fruit. Patronize us at Sweet Heart Fruit today. You will be glad you business with us.
Welcome back to the show. Enough is enough. SORO SOKE, your host Femi Oke, sitting in. Now we come to the section about current affairs. I want to put this question to OTUNBA. The controversial Benin governor, Otum, has acknowledged that IPOB, Boko Haram, armed bandits, and marauding herdsmen and separatist agitators are all enemies of Nigeria. Governor Otum and many Nigerians say that herdsmen who are not a collective group with a Governor Otum and many Nigerians say that herdsmen who are not a collective group with a political agenda should be proscribed like IPOB. What is your view, Mr. Otumba? Should herdsmen who are not a political group be prescribed like IPOB?
Well, prescribing a terrorist group is not a new thing. And then, unfortunately, the likes of Boko Haram, IPOB, and some other local champions who see themselves as the champion of some form of ideology. Because when you look at when people ask what does Boko Haram really want, they stand on their existing agenda of wanting to transform in their own archaic thinking, that they want to turn Nigerian civilization, even though I don't see civilization in Nigeria, as far as I'm concerned, because a country that cannot provide basic things is not civilized. So they think they are the champion of these causes, that they want Nigeria to be.
But I'm more specific about the herdsmen. Should they be classified? Because we haven't got much time at this section. Should they be classified as terrorist group as well?
They're all interconnected. Then comes these Fulani people. Well, you might want to know why Fulani are not only after eating up people's crops, they're also after Danfodio agenda, that they want to
really
claim.
Okay. Taking the Quran into the Atlantic Ocean.
Yes, they want to reclaim.
But you know that the Quran has already been taken to the Atlantic Ocean centuries ago.
As far as they're concerned,
Jebus and most Lagosians are already Muslims. They're some of the more staunchest Muslims in Nigeria. So what is an agenda that has already been fulfilled?
Yeah, what is not fulfilled for them, as far as they're concerned, is they want the whole lot of Nigerians to be in the same religion. I believe in. I'm a Muslim by birth, even though I don't practice any religion because I don't believe in any of them. I only believe in the Almighty. I'm godly. I try to be godly. So, but I don't need to go to church or mosque to believe in the Almighty. So the Boko Haram, the Fulani headsmen, their own agenda is to say that they, as far as they're concerned, Nigeria is an extended place of their origin. They want to claim Nigeria to be one of the countries they want to use.
Herdsmen, no political agenda, should be prescribed. Okay, your point of view is noted. Because we've got quite a few questions, I want to push them through. Mr. KUTI, are you there?
Yeah. Good.
I'm sure you've heard about the UK IPOB asylum saga. Lai Mohammed, the Minister of Information, was ranting about it the other day. Look, I want to say this, that can we really have the UK as an ally if they're going to be considering IPOB members? And we've heard what Lady Marlene just said earlier on about Nnamdi Kanu's statement today about the killing of anybody who wants to campaign for Anambra elections. How can such a person, who's a fugitive in Nigeria, who ran away from bail, be harbored here in the UK, and then there's the allegation or the suggestion that other members of IPOB, known terrorists, are possibly going to be granted asylum here in the UK. Does the UK have the interest of Nigeria, or are they following their own selfish agenda, national interest, which has got nothing to do with Nigeria? Can we trust the likes of UK in these kind of scenarios? Or should Nigeria change its foreign policy agenda to reflect on these kind of matters?
Well, I think it's preposterous for the UK to be offering asylum to somebody who preaches hate, who asks people to be killed, who wants to disrupt a democratic process. I found that story a bit absurd. I still don't want to believe that they actually did that. But saying that also, how do we change our foreign policy to reflect that we're in a hostile situation with the UK when our president will still come here for medical tourism? It doesn't make any sense. I think we ourselves as a country must begin to, show a sense of pride and also begin to tackle that. I always say that I don't like it when we're protesting and we're going to the British Prime Minister to ask him to intervene. And I believe that we as Africans, as Nigeria, should be able to solve Nigeria's problems internally. We're 200 million people. We should be able to sit down with representatives and solve our problems. So I think I just don't see any reason why I don't agree with the amnesty for IPOB people, especially as Kanu continues to preach hate. I don't mind him saying he doesn't want to be a part of Nigeria and all of that. But when you start to tell people to kill people, or some people are animals, they should be killed, I think that kind of person doesn't deserve, amnesty. I think it's preposterous.
Yeah.
It should never be done.
Mr. Kuti, I want to further support you. We are in this country where social media baiting is a problem. It's being legislated against. That if you do that, you can be prosecuted.
Yeah.
So it's actually against British law.
Yeah.
Yet they're found to be silent in these regards. We have Desani, who's a wanted fugitive in Nigeria. This country, we had David Cameron said that Nigeria is fantastically corrupt. However, he is involved in the scandal now of putting forward suggestions for contracts for some people. Who are the British to speak on these matters when they cannot be a proper ally to Nigeria? Can we take them for their word, Mr. OBANLEOWO in the studio? And finally, what I want to say is, the funny thing about this asylum thing is, I mentioned about this and posted on in the media, and you won't believe that the number of people that called me and said to me,
they were attacking
no, they weren't attacking me. They were asking me, how can I make an application? Because they wanted to make an application for IPOB.
No, by the way, Femi, before you go on, by the way, Femi, he actually, one of his talks today also, he said he's not accepting the asylum. He said he wants referendum. That asylum is rubbish, that he's not accepting it, that he wants
people are
he doesn't need asylum, he's a British citizen, so he won't need asylum. But the point I'm trying to make is that it just shows you the duplicity of the British. Many agitators for the separatists of Nigeria and all that are coming here in the UK, live in the UK, grandizing, opening their mouth. Whereas this country, which is harboring them, are the harbingers of divide and rude politics. They're the ones that set the legacy for where Nigeria is today. And it looks like they're meddling again. What is it that we are doing as a nation that we can allow the UK to be just doing this kind of nonsense, I
think the problem we have is the British, until we begin to understand that these people never have our best interest from the onset.
I believe that for a fact.
We need to get that right. And if you really look at the way the system is, we are not helping our matters as well. Because when we keep bringing illicit funds back into this country, and these people are accepting these funds with open arms, not saying anything, until when the federal government begin to scrutinize things before they now say, and David Cameron himself, who didn't really achieve much when he was the Prime Minister of this country, has the audacity to now start saying that Nigeria is a fantastic fantastically corrupt country.
Well, he's right in that. It's not a lie. It's actually true.
I understand that, but they are the pioneers of the problems we are having in Nigeria today, because their existence in Nigeria and the constant meddling into our affairs is what is giving our leaders the platform to believe, look, we can do whatever we want in Nigeria because we have an alternative where we can run to. And that's the problem we are having, Femi. You know, because if they begin to understand, look, that the affairs of your people should supersede any other thing. You know, cancel visas and don't give them the impression that when you mess up your country, there's somewhere else for you to come and hide with your families. Well, that's the problem we have. And there's so much hypocrisy about the British people in particular. And that's not how it matters. Because one minute they're saying one thing, and the second minute they're doing something else.
Well, the thing is, I would expect that someone from the Foreign Office in the UK to speak to this, that they're not actually issuing any visas or asylum visas to anyone of IPOB now or in the future. They need to come out, hopefully. I want to take the next question to Lady Marlene. We are in a situation in this world now where Nigerians are saying that our president needs to speak and that he's not speaking and that this is a problem. I'm now saying that the UK government must speak to this, to say that, look, we oppose, you know, anyone who's want to foment hate, wants to divide the country, wants to cause death to people, and, you know, things like that. Such people should be arrested. What I want to say to you, Lady Marlene, is that we saw recently how President Biden and Kamala Harris, you know, they came out very quickly to speak on the guilty verdict against the Chauvin, okay? And I want to say that speaks, you know, as an APC lady, and I'm an APC man, that we need a president. We're talking about 2023 now. I mean, God bless President Muhammad Buhari, you know, BABASOLA, as I say. But we're looking forward. We need a president that's going to come out and speak to Nigerians on a presidential press briefing on a weekly or monthly basis to answer questions and speak truth to power to special incidences and issues, especially agitations about unity and so on. President Buhari is the father of the nation, just like Biden. His silence is deafening. And it beguiles me when I hear APC members saying it's okay if he's silent. What do you say to that?
Well, in as much as I oppose Nnamdi Kanu, that puts some doubts in my mind if it's really Buhari that is still there. Because
in London, you could have seen him when he came to London at Abuja House.
I'm telling you, it's not the same. The behavior of the president now is not the man we voted in.
He may well have. I believe he has health issues anyway. But
yes,
yeah. So that's a fact.
Whatever reason, I'm not expecting anything anymore from. I'm not expecting him to say anything. I'm not expecting anything from him. All I'm looking forward to now is 2023 for somebody to come. And by the way, it's for us to, if it's being zonal to Imo, Abia, to Southeast, please give us the chance. Let's see if we can bring somebody. I don't want all those old PDPs, all those, I think KUTI is shaking his head. I don't want all those PDPs, all those APCs and all that. We just want one individual that can come and move Nigeria forward. Like you're mentioning, like Biden, somebody that, it doesn't have to be young, it doesn't have to be old, but somebody with a heart to govern Nigeria. That's all I'm asking for.
Okay, we're almost coming to the final. We've got 2 minutes left. I mean, that's a tall order. I mean, I wish the Southeast very well. OTUNBA, look, INEC has announced that the date for commencement of voter registrations, okay? But we know that there's no likelihood that we're going to have diaspora voting because diaspora voting hasn't been, the legislation hasn't been completed. So what is this in Nigeria what are legislators doing? They go there to make laws, but God knows what they're doing there. That's why many Nigerians call them legislators. They're only there to loot. They're not there to make laws. And in time of making laws, they drag their feet. They take forever, whether it's reforms or whatever. What is the state of play in Nigeria when we have these kind of legislators dragging their feet about diaspora voting, about any kind of reform or any kind of restructuring? What do you say to that? And this goes for PDP as well as APC legislators. Yet, in 2023, they're all going to get re-elected.
Mhm.
What does it say about the voters? Mr. Otumba, are you there? It looks like Mr. Otumba. Are you there, Mr. Otumba?
He's speaking, but we can't hear him.
Maybe you need to take off unmute your mic, Otumba.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
go on. Answer the question, because we're running out.
The thing is this, you cannot ask someone to give you what he hasn't got.
Mm.
You cannot ask somebody who is managing his Volkswagen and then should take you home with his Mercedes-Benz. He hasn't got it. We are asking too much from either the last government or this government because they don't have the know-how. They don't have the technical know-how of how to govern. They just do a kind of a trial and error. They got there through the garage. The first qualification you need to have is to come through the garage. You could have a professorship in the university of whatever, and but when you get to government, you start behaving like a non-entity. So the situation we have now, 2023, or even before then, is still going to be the same thing. Because as long as we want to continue with the same structure, we're not going to go anywhere. We're going to get stuck again and again and again.
Okay, that was the last question, apparently. So we're going to have to knock off now. So look, we come to the end of the show, everybody, and I want to thank everybody for coming onto the show. Just a moment whilst I file up. Okay. So I want to thank everybody for joining us on tonight's show. Enough is enough. Please don't be silent. If you see something, say something. If you can't take it no more, do something. Niger go better. We all want a better Niger. Enough is enough. Please make sure SORO SOKE. So for adverts and sponsorships, please contact the numbers on your screen. I'm your host, Mr. Femi Oke, founder of Betta9ja, signing out. See you same time next week when we will debate another hot topic.